Tuesday, February 1st, AMD will report their quarterly figures after the market closes. So, what's the game plan here? Me personally, as you know, I do not own AMD shares at the moment. That could change in the future. Now, right now, at the time of making this video, AMD shares are trading at around $116 and it has a market cap of $188.16 billion. Year over year, the stock is down around 30% or so. It has a forward PE of 26.2 times. Now, of course, if you look at the trailing PE, you might say, oh, it's extremely expensive and overvalued. But again, if you look at the difference between trailing and forward PE, I really do not understand why people keep on focusing on these types of metrics, especially the trailing one, because this is a company that is expected to become way more profitable in the coming quarters and in the coming years. So no, sorry, this is not an expensive stock at all. Right now, the average analyst price target sits 46.46% higher than the price we're at today. And that comes, of course, after weeks and weeks of downgrades. Actually, at the start of this year, it was at $183.16. We're now at just under $170. So in today's video, I just want to have a quick overview of the state of AMD, what the market is expecting the company to report, and then something very important that came out from ROCm, the software side of AMD. They put out a blog post, which is very well timed. We did talk about the software side of AMD and how that has to change in order to compete much better with the likes of NVIDIA CUDA. We know AMD quite good already when it comes to inferencing, but with regards to training, well, not to the level that CUDA is at. But that blog post is a very good one. If you want to read more about it, I will put it down in the pinned comment. So if you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, really appreciate that. If you want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment with the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Thank you very much. Now, as always, just to show you the current pricing metrics compared to the 5-year mean, as you can clearly see, all of them here, other than price to free cash flow, because that's in the last 12 months, all of them are below the 5-year mean. And if we look at price earnings to growth, it's at 0.59, which by definition is undervalued. Now, looking at what the market is expecting AMD to report on Tuesday, we can see these are quarter-over-quarter growth rates, by the way, not year-over-year, quarter-over-quarter. So you can already see some impressive growth rates here. Revenue is expected to come at $7.53 billion, up 10.3% quarter-over-quarter. EBITDA $1.82 billion, up 3% growth quarter-over-quarter. EBIT up 17.21. EPS on a GAAP basis of 60 cents. That should grow 28% quarter-over-quarter. And then EPS non-GAAP up 18% to $1.09. And you can see right here that the current expectations are that EPS on a GAAP basis is expected to grow 135.34% year over year in fiscal 25, and then another 42.78% in fiscal year 2026. Switching to free cash flow for fiscal 24 is expected to well explode 220.9% year over year growth, but that comes from a very low base in 2023. But that's still expected to grow another 83.7% in fiscal 2025, and then another 35.9% in fiscal 26 to just under $9 billion. Of course, I expect the momentum of data center revenue to continue, and that will become and will stay, just like with NVIDIA, we've seen that in the past, that will stay as the biggest segment of the business, of AMD's business. Now, the client revenue we've seen from Intel, client revenue should be also a good performer for the quarter. Gaming and embedded, I do expect still, especially in the first half of the year, I still expect some headwinds from those two segments. And then, of course, when we reach the second half of the year-over-year comparisons become, well, quite easy, because the performance this year already for gaming and embedded was, well, abysmal. And then, of course, with regards to AI revenue guidance, that's also a very important number, and probably the most important number for this quarter. What will be that AI revenue number for the whole of 2025? Is it going to be closer to $10 billion or not? Because we know that for 2024, the whole of 2024, that's expected to exceed $5 billion. Comes from a very low base. So naturally, a lot of analysts are thinking, well, they should be able to double that, right? If NVIDIA is already at, well, multiples higher than AMD and they can grow it extremely quickly, AMD should be able to double that figure from 5 to 10. But we've already seen some analysts lower their expectations to around $8-9 billion. So remains to be seen what AMD will tell us on Tuesday. But now let me focus on the blog post that was made here 2 days ago. Enhancing AI training with AMD ROCm software. And here, very important to note, they talk about AI training because they know very well already that their inference capabilities have already demonstrated leadership performance and have been adopted by industry leaders like Microsoft and Meta. And here again, talking about that Meta Llama 405 billion model, etc., etc. Okay, we've known about that. Oh, and by the way, do you know why this is so successful? Because the MI300X GPUs have large memory that can require fewer GPUs to run a model. But here again, the important part is memory, which is something we did talk about in a previous video when talking about Micron, when talking about DeepSeek. We said that when it comes to inference, compute is initially required, but memory is more important than compute itself. The reason why you need HBM connected to the GPU is because you only count on memory on the chip when you don't have enough memory on that chip. It has to go to the next one, which of course MI300X, this series, is solving for that problem. Now they continue by saying here, as we continue to advance ROCm software capabilities, we are placing greater emphasis on delivering robust training solutions to complement our expanding inference capabilities. This blog explores how ROCm enhances training efficiency and optimizes performance for popular models while offering a glimpse into planned future advancements. So they first talk here about performance highlights, strong competitive training performance across model, data types, and frameworks. The latest ROCm enhancement delivers strong competitive performance on models like Llama, Mistral, and Flux by leveraging FP8 and BF16 data formats alongside key optimizations. We talked about FP8 training when we did our DeepSeek videos. So FP8 training basically refers to the use of 8-bit floating point precision for training deep learning models. That's a technique aimed at improving computational efficiency and reducing memory usage compared to the traditional 16-bit or 32-bit training. So again, let me repeat how that might impact memory players. Well, it could lead to lower per device memory demand, which might slightly offset sales of high-end DRAM modules optimized for AI workloads, or it could increase total volume of memory sales even if per device needs to shrink. It will amplify demand for more advanced memory solutions such as HBM, low power DRAM as AI adoption grows. And here they compare H100 to the MI300X, the H200 to the MI325X. And as you can see, they are outperforming. Not just with FP8, but BF16 as well. And then we have here with Flux BF16, they said the following. In the example below, we showcase that fine-tuning for tasks such as image generation with Flux, they show competitive performance on MI300X compared to the H100. Of course, we are already at H200 and then we also have a Blackwell. Now let me add another thing, because I already know that people will compare the memory. So let me show you a couple of things here. MI300X, HBM capacity 192 gigs, H100 SXM 80 gigs, and then you can also look at HBM bandwidth. Bandwidth is going to be very important in the future, by the way. Then if we go up a level, so you got the H200, okay, nice upgrade, 141 gigabytes with HBM3E memory. But the MI325X is already at 256 gigs. What about GB200? Well, GB200 is already also a bump up from the H200 at 192 gigs, but also below 256 gigs from the MI325X. And we're not even talking about the 350 or the MI400 for 2026. In conclusion, they said the following. ROCm continues to redefine what's possible in AI and machine learning through its comprehensive software stack. From leading inference performance to its existing competitive performance on training workloads, ROCm provides the tools necessary to tackle the most demanding challenges in AI. With ongoing optimization and a commitment to accessibility through open source, public containers, ROCm is paving the way for researchers and AI engineers to unlock AI breakthroughs. Of course, the timing here could not be more perfect after, well, the whole DeepSeek drama. Now, I would not be fair if I did not include the endnotes, because the endnotes do add a couple of interesting things and how these tests were conducted, because there is a difference in batch sizes here. So we can see for one example here, they used a batch size of 6 for the MI300X and only 1 for the H100. Another example here is a batch size of 3 for BF16 and 4 for FP8 on MI300X, and a batch size of just 1 for the H100. And then for the second part right here, it's about the same, a batch size of 8 for BF16 and 10 for FP8 for the MI325X, and only 4 for the H200. Now they did give us an explanation. They said that they sweep 4 batch sizes for the best performance, so it depends on available memory, and so they can fit a much higher batch size on MI300. They said they tried both batch size 1 and 2 on H100. Batch size 1 performed better with FP8 on H100 than batch size 2. So they reported the batch size 1 number for BF16. They got better performance with batch size 2. So that's basically their explanation here. So yeah, it might not be apples to apples, but at least now you have the explanation. And so right now, if we look at the chart, and this is before, of course, the open on Monday, which could or could not look ugly because of the, well, fears of tariffs. Right now, again, this does still look quite ugly on a weekly because we are below the 20-day moving average. We got actually rejected there last week. We're well below the 50 and well below the 200, still above that uptrend line that started here October 2022. RSI is low, but far from being oversold. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting going into this earnings report, not just because of AMD, but because of the overall market sentiment. Now, I did a specific video about tariffs and the whole thing earlier on Sunday. And just a small reminder, back in 2018, we had that trade war era, couple of weeks or months or so with China. The market did crash in the short run. But you know what happened since that bottom? The Nasdaq is up 260% since. Remember back in 2020, March 2020, the pandemic, right? That short period pandemic fears, the craziest thing that could happen. Market crashed. What happened since? Also, the markets are up over, well, Nasdaq specifically is up over 200% since. So in the short run, yes, uncertainties, not great for the market. Over the long run, we should be fine, especially if you focus on specific companies. Definitely now in this earnings season, specific companies can still go green even if the market is red. But if the market is red and you report a miss and the numbers are not great, then you'll be double red, and that's not that great either. But with AMD specifically, look, if you want AMD for the long run, there's no issue buying before the earnings, right? If it goes up, great, your early position is already up, then you can add more with more information that you got during the earnings call. And if you bought and it dropped, but you want it for the long run, you just got more shares for a cheaper price. So there is that. Me personally, like I said, I don't own shares. Maybe I'll buy in the future, maybe not. I'm just here to inform you. So all in all, that's about it. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.